In the year 3087 humans had forgotten their first home. They lived on faraway planets under strange suns and spoke of Earth as a myth told to children. No one truly believed it had ever been real. Only in old archives, hidden behind government locks, were there whispers of a blue planet where it all began. Captain Arlen was not a man who believed in myths, but he was a man who listened to signals. He spent his life searching deep space for lost transmissions and hidden messages. One quiet night, alone in the command chair of his small ship, he picked up a sound that made his heart stop. It was faint at first, a flicker of noise in the static. Then it grew stronger, clearer, older. A voice whispered through the speakers, soft but unmistakably human. Earth remembers. Just 2 words. No coordinates, no explanation. Yet Arlen felt a pull inside his chest as if the universe itself had reached for him. He replayed the signal again and again. It was not a glitch. It was not an echo. It was real. He checked the star maps, following the thin trail of data to a place on the edge of known space. The coordinates led to a dead zone, a region no one entered, marked on charts as unmapped and unsafe. His training told him to report it to the central network, but some instinct told him not to. If this was truly from Earth, someone had hidden it for a reason. His hands hovered over the console. Should he go? Should he risk everything for a ghost? He closed his eyes and thought of the old stories his grandmother used to tell. Stories of oceans that stretched forever, of trees so high their tops vanished into the sky, of a blue marble floating in the dark. He set a course. The engines roared to life. His ship, the Vigilant, turned slowly toward the unknown. As it jumped through hyperspace, Arlen stared at the stars rushing past, feeling both excitement and dread. For the first time in years he felt truly alive. Days passed in silence. The signal grew stronger as he approached, almost like a heartbeat guiding him home. Yet something else crept into the transmission. Strange distortions, echoes of other voices, like a crowd whispering behind the main message. Sometimes he thought he heard his name spoken faintly. Sometimes he thought he heard warnings. He began to dream of a planet covered in clouds and shadows. In his dreams something ancient stirred beneath the soil. He woke each time with sweat on his skin. The last jump brought him into the dead zone. Stars here burned dim and cold. Space felt thicker, heavier, as if watching him. His ship's sensors flickered and failed one by one. He had to navigate by hand. Ahead, a dark sphere drifted, covered in swirling gray storms. No beacon, no lights, no sign of life, yet his heart told him he had found the source. He slowed his ship and drifted closer. The planet's surface came into view. He saw broken continents, cracked oceans, and shapes that could be cities buried in dust. His breath caught. Could this be Earth? Could this be the birthplace of humanity, hidden all this time at the edge of the galaxy? His scanners tried to read the atmosphere but failed. Numbers flashed and died. Warnings lit up on his screen. He ignored them. He wanted to see with his own eyes. As he descended through the clouds, his ship rattled and groaned like an old animal. Lightning flashed across the sky. The planet seemed alive, breathing around him. In the distance, a dark mountain rose like a claw. Around it, ruins stretched for miles, silent and endless. He landed in what looked like a valley once filled with water. The ground was dry and cracked. He stepped outside in his suit. The air was thin but breathable. He took off his helmet and felt cold wind brush his face. It smelled of dust and memories. His boots crunched over stone that might have been a road long ago. Broken signs, shattered glass, rusted machines lay all around. He saw carvings on walls, faded flags, names of places long forgotten. He realized with a shiver that this was not just any world. This was Earth, or what was left of it. And the signal that had called him here was not just a message. It was an invitation, or a warning. He felt eyes on him, though the valley was empty. Somewhere in the ruins something watched. He raised his scanner but found nothing. The words, "Earth remembers," echoed in his head. He whispered them out loud. Earth remembers. For the first time he understood the weight of those words. This planet had not been lost. It had been waiting. Waiting for someone like him to return. Waiting to reveal its secret. And as the wind rose and the sky darkened, Captain Arlen knew he was no longer alone. Captain Arlen stood in the dead valley of the lost planet, his heart beating fast. The wind whispered through broken towers and fallen bridges. Dust moved like ghosts around his boots. He had come searching for a myth, but found a graveyard. Yet there was life here, a strange hum under the surface of silence. His ship, the Vigilant, rested behind him like a silent sentinel, its lights dimmed by the planet's strange atmosphere. He touched the cracked stone of an ancient wall and felt a faint vibration like a pulse. This place was not only ruins. Something still lived beneath. He moved forward through a maze of half-buried buildings. Shadows shifted as if watching. He whispered the words again, Earth remembers, and the sound echoed back like a voice. The air grew colder as he descended into a sunken plaza where water once flowed. Rusted signs still bore human letters, faded but readable. He brushed away dust from one of them and saw a symbol of Earth from old history files. A circle with blue and green lines. His fingers trembled. It was proof. This was Earth. But why was it hidden here, changed and broken, at the edge of the galaxy? He pulled out his scanner, but the screen flickered with static. The planet did not want to be scanned. He could only rely on his eyes. Ahead, he saw a stairway leading underground, lit faintly by a weak blue glow. He felt an invisible pull toward it, as if the planet itself guided him. He descended slowly, his hand on the old rail. The air grew warmer. The walls changed from stone to metal. Old lights flickered weakly overhead, powered by something ancient yet still running. He stepped into a huge underground chamber. Rows of machines stood like sleeping giants. Dust covered everything, but soft lights blinked on some panels. He walked among them and saw symbols of Earth's governments, companies, and space agencies from centuries past. It was as if a whole piece of history had been buried here and kept alive by unseen hands. At the center of the room stood a round console still glowing faintly. He approached and placed his hand on it. The screen flared to life with a weak hologram. A woman's face appeared, blurry and shifting like a ghost. If you are seeing this, she said in a soft voice, then Earth's time of silence is over. You are not supposed to be here. Arlen stepped back, stunned. The hologram continued, speaking of the great departure and the final secret. The words made no sense to him but filled him with dread. He tried to speak, but the hologram froze and flickered out. The chamber grew silent again except for a faint hum from deeper tunnels. He realized this was only the surface of a larger mystery. Somewhere below was something still alive. He moved through another door into a narrow corridor where the walls glowed faintly with patterns like veins. He touched them and felt warmth like skin. The planet felt alive under his fingers. As he turned a corner he saw movement. A figure stood at the far end of the hall. It was tall and thin, wrapped in a cloak of shifting light. It vanished as soon as he blinked. His heart raced. He called out but received no answer. Only echoes returned. He forced himself to keep walking. He came into another chamber, smaller, lined with old screens and data drives. Some still worked, blinking faintly. He pressed one and saw a brief clip of humans boarding massive ships, leaving Earth behind. A voice said, "The seed must stay hidden." Then the clip ended. He understood nothing but felt the weight of a great decision made long ago. Why did they leave? What did they hide? He looked around and saw an old plaque on the wall, Project Gaia. The name meant nothing to him but stirred a sense of recognition, as if from a dream. He turned and noticed a door slightly open with soft light spilling out. He pushed it and entered. Inside was a smaller room, round, with a single chair and a glowing sphere in the center. The sphere pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. As he approached it, a voice spoke, calm and deep, not from any speaker but from the air itself. "You have come home," it said. Arlen froze. "Who are you?" he asked. The voice answered, "I am Gaia, the guardian of Earth's memory." The sphere brightened, showing flickers of forests, oceans, cities, and stars. "You are not ready to know the truth," the voice said. "But you must prove you are worthy." Arlen stepped closer. "I only want to understand," he said. "I received the signal." The sphere pulsed faster. "The signal was not meant for you," Gaia said. "But now you are here. The test begins." Before Arlen could speak again, the room darkened, and the images of forests and oceans vanished. The floor shifted beneath him like a living thing. The voice said, "Follow the path. Do not stray." A door opened on the far wall, showing a tunnel leading deeper into the planet. Cold air rushed in, carrying the scent of metal and old earth. Arlen swallowed hard. He had come searching for a myth, but found a living memory. He felt the planet's eyes on him again, unseen but powerful. He knew now that this was not just a forgotten home. This was a place of trial, a vault of secrets built by his ancestors. And something down there still waited. Something that could change everything. He took a deep breath and stepped into the tunnel as the door closed behind him, sealing him in darkness with only the faint glow of the sphere fading away. Captain Arlen walked slowly into the dark tunnel, his footsteps echoing against smooth walls that seemed to breathe with a faint pulse of light. The air was heavy, warm, and metallic, like a living machine. He felt as if he were stepping inside the veins of the planet itself. The glow from the sphere behind him faded until it was gone, and only a thin blue light guided him forward. He tightened his grip on his scanner, but it was useless now, only showing static. He had nothing but his instincts and the voice of Gaia still echoing in his mind. "Follow the path. Do not stray." The tunnel curved deeper and deeper, and the floor tilted downward like a spiral into the heart of the world. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls, not quite human, not quite alien, shapes that seemed to shift when he looked too long. They felt familiar in a way he could not explain, as if some part of his blood remembered them. He touched one and felt a spark jump into his hand, like a heartbeat of knowledge too quick to grasp. A sound came from ahead, a low hum turning into a voice. "You should not be here," it said softly. Arlen froze. "Who are you?" he called. No answer came, only the hum again, louder now. He pressed forward, feeling the pull of curiosity stronger than fear. The tunnel opened into a vast chamber, unlike anything he had seen. It was a cavern of metal and stone, with pillars rising like frozen thunderbolts. In the center floated a huge sphere of shifting light, larger than his ship, surrounded by rings of glowing symbols. Beneath it stood a figure made of shimmering lines, tall and human-shaped but clearly not human. Its face was smooth and without features, but its presence filled the room with power. Arlen's heart pounded as the figure turned toward him. "You have come to the heart of Earth," the voice said, and now he saw it was speaking without a mouth. The sound came from everywhere. "I am Gaia," it said. "I am the last guardian." Arlen took a step forward. "I found the signal," he said. "It brought me here." The figure's head tilted as if studying him. "The signal was not meant for you," Gaia said. "It was a memory. A warning to those who remember." Arlen's voice shook. Why was Earth hidden? Why did humanity leave? The chamber trembled faintly at his words. Lights flickered on the walls showing images, ships leaving Earth, oceans drying, great machines burying cities underground. "They left because they found what should not be found," Gaia said. "They left because they feared themselves." Arlen felt the weight of centuries pressing down on him. "What did they fear?" he asked. Gaia's form shifted, becoming taller, darker. "You are not ready to know. To protect the secret, I was left behind. For thousands of years, I have waited." The floating sphere pulsed slowly above them like a giant heart. "What is the secret?" Arlen whispered. Gaia raised a hand made of light. "If I tell you, the universe will change. If you are unworthy, it will end. That is why you must prove yourself. The chamber's floor split open to reveal a path leading deeper into glowing tunnels. There is a test, Gaia said. At the end you will either understand, or you will be gone. Only then will you see what your ancestors left here. Arlen looked at the path. It was dark and alive with faint moving shapes. And if I refuse? He asked. The Guardian's voice deepened. Then you will leave and never return. The secret will sleep until another comes. This is the last chance. Arlen felt a strange calm. All his life he had searched for lost signals, for pieces of truth hidden in the noise of the galaxy. Now the greatest secret of all was before him. I will take the test, he said quietly. Gaia lowered its hand. Then walk, it said. But know this, Earth remembers not only beauty and life. It remembers pain and power. If you open the wrong door, you will not leave alive. The rings of symbols around the floating sphere began to turn slowly, casting shadows across the chamber like a spinning clock. The tunnel ahead glowed faintly, showing steps carved into stone and metal leading downward. Arlen took a deep breath and stepped forward. As he did, the air grew thicker, filled with whispers like distant voices. He thought he heard his name again. He thought he heard the sea. He kept walking, feeling the Guardian's gaze behind him like a weight on his back. The tunnel closed behind him with a low hiss, sealing him inside. For a moment he felt completely alone, but then a faint light appeared ahead, flickering like a torch in the dark. He followed it, knowing it was part of the test. The walls around him began to shift, showing flashes of memories that were not his. Forests burning, stars collapsing, humans building machines beyond imagination. He reached out, but the visions vanished like smoke. He understood now that this was not just a place. It was a memory alive, and he was walking through the mind of Earth itself. Somewhere ahead the truth waited, but so did something else, something moving in the dark that was not part of the visions. He heard soft footsteps behind him, though he was sure the tunnel had sealed. He turned, but saw nothing. The whispering grew louder, words in no language he knew. He tightened his fists and kept moving. The test had begun. Captain Arlen walked deeper into the living tunnels, the air thick with whispers and the scent of old earth and metal. The walls pulsed faintly like veins carrying light instead of blood, guiding him deeper into the planet's heart. Each step felt heavier, as if gravity itself wanted to hold him back. He remembered Gaia's warning, but curiosity burned stronger than fear. His scanner was dead, his ship far above, and now only his will kept him moving. The tunnel opened into a vast chamber filled with broken machines, their shapes strange and beautiful, half organic and half mechanical. Some glowed faintly, others were frozen in silence like fossils. In the center of the room stood a tall pillar covered in symbols, glowing with a soft golden light. As Arlen approached, the symbols shifted to form words he could read. We left because we feared, they said. We hid because we remembered. He reached out to touch the pillar and images exploded in his mind. Oceans rising, skies burning, vast engines pulling energy from the core of the planet. He staggered back, gasping, but the images did not stop. He saw humans standing before a great vault, arguing, some weeping, some furious. He heard a voice, maybe Gaia, maybe another, whispering, the seed must stay hidden. Then it faded. His knees trembled, but he forced himself to stand. At the far side of the chamber, he saw a door sealed by an intricate lock of light. As he moved closer, the lock shifted and opened on its own, recognizing him somehow. The door slid aside with a hiss, revealing a narrow staircase descending into darkness. He hesitated, but stepped forward. The stairs led him into a hall lined with glowing murals. Each mural showed a chapter of Earth's forgotten history. Humans reaching the stars, building vast colonies, discovering something deep within Earth that glowed like a star. The murals grew darker the farther he went, showing wars and panic, ships leaving Earth under a sky torn with lightning. At the end of the hall, a final mural showed a great chamber, a glowing seed at its center, and figures turning away from it. He stopped and stared. The seed looked alive, like a small sun. He knew instantly this was the secret Gaia spoke of. Whatever it was, his ancestors had chosen to leave it buried here. He reached the end of the hall and another door opened. Beyond it was a cavern vast and silent, its ceiling lost in darkness. At its center rose a platform surrounded by floating rings of energy. On the platform sat a sealed pod shaped like a crystal. It pulsed slowly, glowing with soft green and gold light. Even from a distance he could feel its power, not as heat or force but as a deep hum inside his chest, like the heartbeat of the planet itself. He stepped closer, but the floor shifted beneath his feet. The walls of the cavern began to glow, revealing shapes hidden in the shadows, machines like statues, tall and silent, their eyes dark. He realized they were guardians, waiting. A voice spoke, softer than before but deeper. "You have reached the heart of the vault," Gaia said. "You stand before the seed." Arlen stared at the crystal. "What is it?" he asked. "Life," Gaia said. "The first and the last. With it you can remake worlds. With it you can destroy them. It is the memory of Earth made whole." Arlen's breath caught. "Why hide it?" The voice echoed. "Because humans are not ready. They were never ready. They feared their own power and chose to scatter the stars rather than risk it." Arlen looked at the crystal, feeling its pull stronger than anything he had felt before. It called to him like home. "Why me?" he asked quietly. "Why now?" Gaia's voice changed, sounding almost sad. "Because the stars are dying. The galaxy is waking. The secret cannot stay buried forever. Someone must decide." The rings around the platform began to spin faster, casting shifting shadows across the cavern. Arlen took another step forward, and the guardian's eyes flickered faintly as if warning him. "If I touch it, what happens?" he asked. "If you are worthy," Gaia said, "you will know the truth. If you are not, you will cease to be." The hum of the seed grew louder, filling the cavern like a heartbeat of the universe. Arlen's mind raced. He had dreamed of discovering something no one else had, but now that it was here the weight of choice felt like a mountain. He thought of the countless human colonies across the stars, struggling to survive on barren worlds. This seed could give them oceans, forests, air. It could save them. But he also thought of the wars he had seen, the greed, the violence. With power like this, humanity might destroy itself completely. He closed his eyes, breathing slowly, feeling the hum vibrate through his bones. When he opened them, the seed pulsed once, brighter, like it knew his thoughts. He reached out a hand, but stopped inches away. The guardian's eyes burned faintly, waiting. The voice of Gaia spoke one last time, softer now. "Choose carefully, Arlen. The universe will feel your choice." Captain Arlen stood before the glowing seed, his hand hovering above its surface as its power pulsed through the cavern like the heartbeat of a sleeping giant. The whispering around him grew louder, but now it was no longer the planet's memory. It was something else, sharper and closer, like a storm approaching. The guardian's eyes flickered brighter, scanning the dark edges of the cavern. Arlen turned, sensing movement beyond the pillars. For the first time since landing on the lost Earth, he felt a presence that was not part of the planet. He stepped back from the seed, his instincts screaming. The air thickened with a strange vibration, a hum that matched no pattern he knew. Then a crack of blue light split the air near the entrance to the cavern. Space folded inward like paper, and from it emerged ships, sleek black craft shaped like wings, silent but deadly. They hovered in the underground vault as if gravity did not touch them. Arlen stared in shock. These were not aliens, at least not entirely. Their markings bore symbols faintly human but twisted, a language he could almost read. The ships opened and figures stepped out, tall and armored in silver plates that shimmered like liquid. Their faces were covered by masks with glowing eyes. One of them spoke, its voice a blend of human tone and mechanical echo. "You are trespassing," it said. Arlen swallowed hard. "Who are you?" The figure tilted its head. "We are the off-world heirs," it said. "Descendants of those who left this place. We have come for what is ours. Arlen's heart sank. He realized these were not strangers but the children of humanity's choice, shaped by centuries away from Earth, evolved or engineered into something else. Why now? Arlen asked. Because the signal awoke us, the leader said. The seed calls to its creators. It belongs to us, not to you. Arlen looked at the seed behind him. Its light pulsed brighter as if sensing the newcomers. The guardians around the cavern shifted, their eyes glowing red. Gaia's voice echoed through the chamber, cold and firm. The seed belongs to no one. It belongs to life itself. The off-world heirs raised their weapons, long spears of energy that hissed in the air. Move aside, the leader said to Arlen. We will take it. Arlen held up his hands. If it's so powerful, why hide it? Why did your ancestors bury it instead of using it? The leader's voice darkened. They were weak. They feared the universe. We do not. We will shape it as we wish. The guardians took a step forward, metal feet shaking the ground. Energy crackled between them and the off-world heirs, a tension like the edge of a storm. Arlen knew one wrong move would trigger a disaster. He looked at the seed, glowing brighter and brighter, as if reacting to the conflict. He felt caught between two forces, one ancient and silent, one born of ambition and hunger. He spoke quickly. If you destroy each other here, the seed will be lost, he said. Let me speak to Gaia. The leader laughed, a sound like breaking glass. Gaia is only a program, it said. It will not stop us. But Gaia's voice came again, stronger now, shaking the walls. I am more than a program, it said. I am Earth. And Earth remembers. The guardians moved faster, forming a circle around the seed. Their bodies unfolded into shapes like wings and shields. The off-world heirs spread out, their weapons glowing hotter. Arlen felt the ground tremble beneath his feet. The cavern itself seemed to wake. He realized he had seconds to act before battle began. He stepped closer to the seed, holding up both hands. Stop, he shouted. If the seed is unleashed in a fight, it could destroy everything. But neither side lowered their weapons. The leader of the off-world heirs looked at Arlen, its glowing eyes narrowing. Then choose, it said. Step aside and live, or die with your myths. Arlen's pulse thundered. He thought of the human colonies struggling across the stars, of children growing up on barren rocks under weak suns. He thought of the power in the seed, enough to heal worlds or burn them. He did not know which of these beings was right. He only knew the seed could not fall into hands driven by greed. He took a deep breath. If anyone takes it, it will be me, he said. The leader tilted its head. And who are you to claim it? Arlen's voice steadied. I am human. I am from the stars you left behind. I came because the signal called me. Gaia's voice whispered in his mind. The test is not over. The seed pulsed brighter still, filling the cavern with green gold light. The guardians raised their shields. The off-world heirs raised their weapons. Energy sparked across the room like lightning. The leader gave a signal. Take him, it said. The heirs moved forward, but as they stepped into the circle of light, the seed flared with a blinding flash. The air roared with power like a storm. Arlen shielded his eyes, feeling the energy surge around him. For a moment everything was still, as if the universe itself held its breath. Then the cavern shifted, walls closing and opening like gates. Gaia's voice echoed, now like thunder. Enough. The next choice is his. All weapons froze in midair, held by unseen force. All eyes turned to Arlen. The seed floated above the platform now, its light spilling across every face. It hovered toward him, as if offering itself. His heart pounded. He understood now that whatever happened next would decide not just his fate but the fate of everyone in the chamber. Maybe the fate of the galaxy. Captain Arlen stood frozen as the seed floated before him, glowing brighter than any star he had ever seen, its light bathing the cavern and casting the off-world heirs and the guardians into stark shadows. Time seemed to stop. The weapons of the heirs hung suspended in midair, held by an invisible force, and the guardians stood still as statues, their eyes fixed on him. Gaia's voice filled the chamber like a deep wind moving through stone. "This is the moment, Arlen," it said. "The vault of truth opens only for the one who dares to see." The seed pulsed once, and a ripple of energy passed through the floor, opening a path of light toward a doorway hidden behind the platform. Arlen turned his head, his pulse hammering in his ears. Beyond that door, he felt, lay the answer to everything, the secret his ancestors buried, the truth that had shaken them so deeply they had left their home. "Step forward," Gaia said. "But know that once you cross, you cannot return the same." Arlen glanced at the off-world heirs. Their leader's glowing eyes stared at him with rage and hunger, but the invisible force held them still. "Do not trust it," the leader hissed through its mask. "It will destroy you." Arlen ignored the warning. He stepped onto the path of light. The seed drifted behind him like a silent star, following as if tethered to his will. He walked through the doorway and the world around him changed. The cavern dissolved into a vast expanse of stars, but he was not in space. He was inside a chamber of memory, a vault built not from stone but from light and thought. He floated between images of Earth as it once was, oceans bright as mirrors, forests endless and alive, cities of glass under blue skies. He heard voices, millions of voices, laughing, crying, singing. He saw the first ships launch into space, humanity's dream of freedom and exploration. Then the images shifted. He saw scientists gathered around a glowing core deep beneath Earth's crust, pulling out a fragment of living energy, the first seed. He saw their joy turn to fear as they realized its power. He saw leaders argue, some wanting to use it to terraform new worlds, others warning that it could unmake life as easily as create it. He watched wars spark in secret, plans to seize the seed for control. And then he saw the decision. Gaia created, Earth hidden, the seed sealed in the vault, humanity scattered to the stars. He felt their desperation, their shame, their hope. All of it poured into him like a flood. He gasped for breath, but there was no air here, only light. Gaia's voice spoke softly in his mind. "This is the truth. The seed is not a weapon. It is creation itself. But in the wrong hands it becomes destruction. Humanity chose to forget to protect itself." Arlen floated in silence, his heart heavy. He thought of the colonies he had seen, the suffering of his people, the barren worlds they called home. He thought of the off-world heirs in the cavern, their hunger for power, their belief they could shape the galaxy. "Why show me this?" he whispered. "Because you came," Gaia said. "Because you listened." The seed responds to will, not blood. It chose you. Arlen looked at the seed, glowing softly beside him like a living sun. "What happens if I take it?" he asked. "You will carry life to the stars," Gaia said. "But you will also awaken forces long asleep. Once the seed leaves Earth, the universe will change. There will be no hiding again." The images faded, and he stood once more in a chamber, smaller now, with the seed hovering above a pedestal of light. A single pathway led back to the cavern where the heirs and guardians still waited. Gaia's voice grew faint. "Choose, Arlen. Leave it and walk away, or take it and face what comes." He stared at the seed, his mind torn. In his heart he knew the off-world heirs would never stop trying to take it. If he left it, Earth would remain a prison of secrets, but the galaxy would keep dying slowly. If he took it, everything would change, and maybe not for the better. He reached out, his fingers trembling. The seed pulsed once, sending a wave of warmth through his body. In that moment he felt not power but memory. The oceans, the forests, the voices of his ancestors. He felt the weight of every life waiting in the stars for hope. His hand closed around the seed. It was warm, lighter than it looked, yet heavy with meaning. The chamber shuddered, as if waking from a long sleep. Gaia's voice rose like thunder. "So it begins." The path of light behind him collapsed into darkness, replaced by a new opening leading upward, toward the cavern. Arlen turned, holding the seed against his chest. Its glow spilled through his fingers, bright enough to light the whole tunnel. He walked back, feeling the universe shift around him. As he stepped through the doorway, the cavern returned, but nothing was the same. The Guardian's eyes blazed like stars. The off-world heirs were free from the invisible force now, their weapons raised, their leader staring at him with fury. Gaia's voice echoed one last time. The vault of truth is open. Now the galaxy will know what was hidden. Arlen stood at the center of it all, the seed in his hands, and understood that the test was over. The true battle was about to begin. Captain Arlen stood in the heart of the cavern holding the seed close to his chest as its glow poured through his fingers like liquid sunlight, casting long trembling shadows across the walls. The Guardians formed a circle around him, their metal wings spread wide like shields of an ancient army, while the off-world heirs raised their weapons glowing hot with deadly energy. For a heartbeat no one moved, all eyes locked on the small living fragment of earth cradled in his hands. Gaia's voice rolled through the chamber like distant thunder. The vault is open. The choice has been made. Now the universe will feel its truth. The leader of the off-world heirs stepped forward, its mask shining with cold light. Give it to us, it demanded. It belongs to our bloodline. We will reshape the stars. Arlen's grip tightened. It belongs to no one, he said quietly. It belongs to life itself. The leader's eyes narrowed. You are only one man. You cannot stand against us. Arlen felt fear twist inside him, but he also felt the seed's warmth in his chest, steady and calm, like the heartbeat of a living world. I don't have to stand against you, he said. I only have to show the truth. The seed pulsed brighter, its light spilling across the cavern like dawn breaking over a dead world. The Guardians lowered their shields and the cavern walls began to shift, glowing with moving images. Every surface filled with visions from the vault of truth. Oceans, forests, cities, the moment humanity discovered the seed, the wars, the decision to hide it, the scattering of the stars. The off-world heirs froze, their weapons faltering as they stared at the images of their ancestors turning away from the power they now sought. Gaia's voice rose, echoing in every corner. This is what you forgot. This is what you are. The leader stepped back, its mask trembling as if the light burned through it. Lies. It hissed, but its voice cracked. The images shifted to show the future, barren worlds blooming under the seed's power, but also burning if misused, entire systems undone in an instant. Creation and destruction, Gaia said. Two sides of the same force. Which will you choose? The heirs looked at one another, their weapons lowering as doubt rippled through them. Arlen stepped forward onto the platform, holding the seed high. The universe doesn't need conquerors, he said, his voice steady. It needs hope. He closed his eyes and opened himself to the seed. Warmth spread through him, memories of oceans and skies, of children laughing under trees, of stars seen from a blue planet long forgotten. He felt the seed respond, glowing hotter until its light filled the chamber, rising like a sun. The Guardians bowed their heads. The off-world heirs shielded their eyes. Gaia spoke softly now, like a voice carried on the wind. You have awakened the memory. What you do next will echo forever. Arlen opened his eyes. He saw not just the cavern but the stars beyond, a web of worlds connected by a single thread of life. He felt the seed hum like a promise. He raised it higher. I will not use it for war, he said. I will not hide it again. I will share it. Every world will know the truth of Earth. The cavern trembled as if in answer. The seed burst into 1,000 streams of light that rose upward like fireflies, passing through the stone as if it were air, flying into the sky and beyond. Above, in the void of space, they scattered like seeds on a cosmic wind, carrying with them fragments of Earth's life, its memory, its gift. Across distant colonies people looked up and saw new stars bloom in the sky. They felt the air shift, water rise, soil grow rich. Worlds long barren began to stir. The off-world heirs dropped their weapons, staring at the sky through the cracks in the cavern ceiling as if seeing it for the first time. Their leader's mask flickered and faded, revealing a face marked by both human features and something else, eyes wide with awe. "What have you done?" it whispered. Arlen lowered his hands, the seed now only a small dim glow in his palm, its great power already spreading. "I have given it back," he said. "Not to one, but to all." Gaia's voice trembled, no longer cold but almost human. "Earth is no longer forgotten. Its gift is life. Its memory is yours." The guardians folded their wings and stepped aside, their duty finished. The cavern's walls cracked, opening to the surface where a pale light shone through storm clouds. Arlen walked slowly toward the exit, the off-world heirs following silently behind him, no longer enemies but witnesses. He stepped out onto the ruined valley and felt wind on his face, no longer cold but warm, carrying the scent of rain and green shoots rising through dust. He looked up at the sky and saw the stars shift, new constellations forming like paths. He knew the galaxy would never be the same. Governments would fall, empires would rise, and wars might come, but life would return everywhere and with it the memory of Earth. The seed pulsed once more in his hand, then faded into a soft stone, its work begun. Gaia's voice whispered faintly in his mind one last time. "You have awakened the universe." Arlen closed his eyes and smiled, not with victory but with understanding. He had come seeking a myth and found a truth too large for one man, but he had carried it anyway and set it free. He opened his eyes to the wind and the stars and began to walk, a single figure leaving footprints on a world reborn, while above him the scattered light of Earth's gift spread across the dark, shaking the universe awake.